Welcome to Monday Club. We've been blown right out, Nick. The girls have blown us out tonight. Everyone's blown us out tonight. But like I said, we've got to keep the show going. So we're just going to do an us one.
Yeah, man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
We've
man.
never done one-on-one before, so.
Oh, really?
Oh, hey. Should be interesting.
But no, it's nice to just have a chat. Like, basically, it's going to be a chat. But as we start every week, what'd you get up to last week, Nico?
Eased myself back into work, wasn't it? So, been off for a period of time. First 2 days ended up being a car crash because I riled myself up. Like I said, showered everything first day. Couldn't work. The lady was just about to give birth, so we're like, that's fair. And then the second day, we'd only put one EICR in, and I wanted to sort the van out, and the woman for the EICR was for the estate agents wasn't in. So I was like, looked at Adam and went, let's go home. He was like, it's 9:15. I was like, we have tried. But yeah, then we had a board change, which I filmed. That should be out. Should have already been out by now. It was in a little kitchen cabinet on the corner. I got Adam to do the whole thing. I was sat at the dining room table watching him do it all, and I was watching YouTube on my iPad, bit of Mr. Beast. Yeah, no, it was good. He did a really good job. It was a bit of a pain in the arse towards the end. You know, when you've got a fuse board, you got two entries. All the cables, it was only built in '07. All the cables, even the tails, came through one back rear entry.
Oh,
So when he got to the bit for putting the RCBOs on, obviously you've got a bulk of cables.
yeah.
It was neat, terrible. And that's just the way it was.
Sometimes it's unavoidable.
Yeah. I said to him, I couldn't have done it any other way he did it. We didn't want to extend any cables.
Because, like,
Probably
being me.
not. Your hands wouldn't fit in the board. And then later on the week, what do we do? Just bits for tying some loose ends up. And then today I went to go start a rewire, which was booked in for last week, but I pushed it to this week. And about 8:00 last night, being Sunday night, I remembered that Adam was at college tomorrow. So to carrying all the heavy stuff out of the van. So I went and saw the lady this morning, marked up a few things, and just said, I can't do anything today. I can't pull all the stuff out and move the furniture. So I just come back home and edit some videos and just had a good chat with my other half. So yeah, that's my week. What about you?
Nothing.
I earned enough money out of one fuse board change for the week. I don't mean I earned enough money. I earned my piece for that. What Adam did, and then then went home. So yeah, what about you?
Well, I haven't worked for 3 weeks, have I? So I had a couple of weeks holiday. Then I was just lazy. Just getting back into it. I needed another week off because I had some health issues, and I just needed another week off. And then I sort of flopped about, and then I got this job. I started today. It's at Kemsley Power Station.
So to put it in perspective, Sam tried to ring me today, and all I could hear was like the phone signal. So it wasn't the signal; it's the wind. Where are you? I'm at the top of a power station.
And cool. Honestly, I am at the top of a power station where they've got like these intake fans that regulate the temperature of the boiler room, and it's my job to wire them up. So yeah, if there's a blackout in Kent next week, it's down to me. But it's pretty phenomenal. I don't know how high up it is, 100 foot, 200 foot, I don't know. And but you can see out right across the Isle of Sheppey, which, let's be fair, try not to go to the Isle of Sheppey. It's Never a weird place. It's so strange. It's so strange. I can't even explain. It's just a strange place. But you can see out. It's a very beautiful landscape. But yeah, it's just windy, man. Windy all day long. But again, I'm fascinated with places like that. Fascinated with heavy industrial. It blows my mind how people even think up. Now, could you imagine being the architect that goes, right, okay, here we go. Let's draw a power station and how everything works and all that.
Yes, a little bit like that. I couldn't comprehend the sheer thing that you've got to do with it. But I always think, and I was listening to something the other day, it was a guy saying about traveling back in time. If like you and me said, oh, well, let's go back to the 17th century or whatever.
Yeah.
With all the knowledge we know now, you think, oh, I could go back there. It's like, well, I don't know how to make a fucking iPhone. I realistically don't know how to build a church and how they cut the sandstone and get arches done. I've seen it. And then it's like, what could I do? I could make a wheel. That's as far as it would go. Could I invent electricity if I went back that far? Probably not. And I just think, you think of all these things of what we've got, and you think, oh
Because
yeah, I
if
sort of
you
know
went
how
back,
that
if
works.
you went back too far, they didn't have cable, did they? So,
No,
so
I'll
you got to
I'll
invent
go and find
making
some
cable.
copper. Yeah, I'll go
And
and
how do
ore
you even
some.
make cable?
No, I don't know how to make the cable. I know how to mine the copper, and I
Yeah,
saw the very old caveman style when they put it in, but
and you
even
could
that,
smelt the copper. You could get it into copper ingots.
yep, you're welcome. There it is.
Yeah,
But then physically drawing it out, other
in
than a anvil and hammer, but
no,
anvil,
you're not
no,
doing it with
an
an
anvil.
anvil and hammer. No, you
But I
probably
mean,
have,
just a but then still, you
no.
would still need
That's
to
not how
make the
you do
steel
it.
to make that
Yeah, and that's the whole
anyway.
thing. It's like, where do you start, right?
Joe,
And then you could probably make some sort of AC motor. Probably, I
probably
reckon I
not.
could. If I had like a lifetime of messing about, I kind of understand the basic principles of a motor or a generator type thing. I probably could fathom something over a lifetime. Maybe I could be the
Maybe,
first
yeah.
Tesla. But the reality is, where do you start? It's such a dumb thing. What are we
I
talking
know.
about?
I just like the question, and it had me thinking for ages. Like if you were to go back in time, like what one thing, a bit of knowledge that you have now, you could take back and use to your advantage, like either coin in on it, or do you know what I mean? Like,
What you
and
could do,
I was
what you
really
could do
thinking, go on.
is if you've got gifted a gab, you go to like you con your way into like the rich court of King Henry VIII or whatever. Say, listen, I need a team of your best engineers, your best scientists, the best of the best. Give me a team, and I will give you a weapon in about 5 years. A weapon that is unmatched. And then there's things you
And
could do.
so what would this weapon be?
Well, you like a bullet straight away because they at the King Henry VIII time they were just coming into muskets, weren't they? So the muskets are dumb.
Right, yeah. So you
But you
could
could,
somehow
if
produce
you had
yourself a bullet, yeah.
engineers, if you had engineers and people who had knowledge of the time, you could probably make a bullet case. Now you're laughing. Now you're on a roll. Now you've made the gun. Now you've got untold coin coming in. Like now you can
So the
start.
first thing you go to is weapons. I
Well,
just try bow and
listen.
arrow.
That's how people get. That's how people get rich. That's
I would go
listen.
back in time and figure out how to make toothpaste for everyone.
They
Because I can
don't.
imagine going back in then and you're looking at everyone thinking,
Yeah.
oh,
Do you
that
know
is
what?
rough.
Toothpaste and razors for women. You
Must
don't
be
want them
there.
hairy armpits, do you?
Oh, some people like that nowadays. I'm not
No,
saying I do.
I'm not saying I
I'm
do.
just saying.
But anyway, we digress.
It was a good story
Yeah, so off to I'm working on the power station at the moment. It's really fun. I really love the heavy industrial environment. Only downside is they got a water treatment plant around the corner, which stinks of poo all day. And then
though.
this is they take
It's like
household
being back in
waste.
Croydon, then, is it?
Better than
Oh,
Birmingham.
I don't live in Birmingham.
Well, you definitely do. Um, um, and then this place is like a power station that runs off of household waste. So it just stinks like
How's
garbage.
that work?
I don't know. I haven't got that far involved yet. Listen to
Maybe that's
this
something
though.
you could take back in time, eh?
No, it's too
No.
complicated. Like I said, it takes us back full circle. Imagine being the architect that designs that. The team of architects. Right, so what we're going to do is design a power station that runs off of nonsense from household waste. Okay, sweet. Well, where do we start? And then all the little intricacies and everything to do. Mate, it blows my mind how smart or...
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know how to manage that process. But anyway, getting to the point of the story is working with this old boy. Well, he's not that old, he's 58. And he's from Sheffield. And he's done it man and boy. But he's always stayed away. So he's always sort of done 2 weeks on the job and then a weekend home. Can you imagine that? He's got a family, he's
His
got a
entire
wife,
life.
entire life. Listen, he's been staying in a B&B on the Isle of Sheppey, right, for 4 years. 2 weeks, 1 weekend off. 4 years
That's
on this
impressive.
power station. They built it out of the ground. It's brand new. And he was there on day one and they'd be there on the end of it. But for 4 years, he never took a week off in 4 years.
bet
I
he's
don't.
minted now as well.
He must have mad dollar, right? He's going to retire in 2 years' time. Good for him. But my thing is, I said to him, I said, like, I can't get my head around it. I was like, so for 4 years, this is all you've done. Like, you actually, and he stayed in the same B&B for 4 years as well. Imagine, like, when the job comes to an end and you've got to shoot off from there, I would have feelings about that place.
I know. I bet
Do
he's
you know
put
what I
some
mean?
shelves up. He's put some pictures up.
Yeah, and it's like, he's had the same room, the same thing, everything's been good for 4 years.
I
No
bet the
week
owner of the
off.
B&B's happy. Jesus.
Yeah, like, but I don't get it. I don't.
So if he's on an island, what is it? Island of Sheppey.
So
So is
where
there a
where we
ferry or
are,
something?
Swale it's called, is the area, and then you've got the Isle of Sheppey, and then it's quite close. I mean, you could if you could throw a stone from one side of the river to the other side of the river that separates the Isle of Sheppey from where we are. The big,
Right.
quite
It's
a
a
front,
bridge
but
then.
you could do it. Yeah. Oh, it's a bridge as well. Yeah. So the bridge to the Isle of Sheppey is just down the road. Um, it's a strange setup. Um, but yeah, you just go across the bridge. 20 minutes. He's at his B&B. 20 minutes in the morning. He's at work. Now they start work at 7, and they finish work at 6:30 every day.
Oh, that's not a fun job.
Every day, and they do 2 weeks on, and then one weekend off. They finish on at 11 on a Friday, shoot home at 11 on a Friday. Might take them 5-6 hours to get home, spend the weekend with their wife, and then bomb. Monday morning they're travelling again, and they're 2 weeks away from the wife and family. Like, how do you
I said,
do that?
nah.
But this isn't rare. A lot of like your northern workers and that, like in industrial and commercial, they stay away for these long periods of time. They do a whole life's journey of going through the sparking trade, staying away. It's not just sparking; it's other trades as well. But man, fair play to them.
I couldn't
Mate,
do it.
I get like I'm doing 4 days a long 4 days and one short Friday. I'm leaving here. I'm leaving my house at 6. And I'm getting in. I'll probably be getting in at 7:30, 8 o'clock for 4 days.
Yeah.
Barely going to see my daughter. I'm not happy. I'm really
Yeah.
like I'm considering not going. They're doing this that's a standard. Just imagine what you missed just to earn money. I don't
No.
get it. It's
I said this when I worked away on the podcast a while ago. Like the stuff the guys got to deal with. I know it's different now. We've got phones, we've got iPhones, we've got FaceTime and whatnot. It's not the same as real life, but it's definitely a step forward. But how the guys used to do it week in, week out, and same hotel room or another Premier Inn with a cooked breakfast in the morning, and
nah.
just I couldn't do it. I really couldn't do it.
And the thing is, like, it doesn't matter how healthy you think you're going to eat. It ain't the same.
No, you always go for a pint after work.
Oh, you end up. Oh, just go Sainsbury's tonight and get one of them cooked chickens. You don't feel any healthier just eating a cooked chicken and a bit of salad because that cooked chicken feels disgusting anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like the whole thing, and you're just eating in your room and you're like, it's all sloppy.
And then your room stinks. I know when we left
you've got a
London,
cup,
we
and that's that big for your water. You're like
thirsty.
monsters.
I know when we left the one in London, we'd been there for 5 nights. Sunday, stayed there Sunday night, went back Friday night, and there was 4 boxes of Domino pizzas, like half eaten, a Burger Priest wrappers, empty beer bottles. Like, because there wasn't a big bin around, we just left them in there. And in the end, I looked at it all and I went to our room stinks. And he was like, "Yeah, it does. I've told you that every day." Like, it didn't bother me. He was like crawling the walls with it.
It's horrible. All that staying away. I can't do it. I tried it a couple of times. I tried it once in Slough. No, not Slough. Where's that place? Swindon, and I tried it once in Liverpool, and I lasted a week on both, and I was just so miserable the whole time because I was like, "Well, I'm not going home to see my wife. I'm not going home to see my dog. Like my child weren't about then, but I was just like, no, what am I doing this for?" And like,
Some people might do it for an escape, though. Like, there's some people might actually really enjoy it.
you're in the wrong marriage if you're escaping from your wife. Like we
No,
all
I
do
mean as
it. We all do
an
it.
escape. Yeah, I don't mean escape as in from loved ones. I mean escape from the whole thing to go out and do their own thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but don't
Because
don't
some
you?
people they don't like being tied down like that day in day out. I'm not saying I can say to you as well. It's exactly the same. If you're not happy in a relationship, then you should be in one. But some people can't compute with that type of relationship where you see each other every day or whatever. I don't know.
Listen,
I've
I
got a
need
friend
my
like
own
it.
time. Listen, I need my own time. Manda, tell you, this shed is my sanctuary. Sometimes I just come out here and I'll sit out here just because I can't be bothered to deal with the talking. You
I bet
know,
it stinks in that shed, doesn't it?
no, it's blessed in this shed. This shed is blessed. The only thing is, at the moment, I've got all my brewing equipment over there, which is annoying me because it's not tidy. But I haven't had
Mm,
time because I've been brewing my own whiskey, rum, brandy, basically strong alcohol, and
very
I'm not even
nice.
drinking. I've actually given away more than I've drunk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I to be honest with you, I like giving it away more than I like drinking it. It's
And getting
really
people's
good.
reactions with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I made anyway. When talking about electrical industry,
Oh, okay.
so I was saying I want to broach.
Go
It's a
on.
contentious subject. What
That's
month
not
is
like
it?
you at all.
What month is it?
September.
And what is September for?
Is it four? Safe isolation
Right.
month.
Where did that come from? First of all,
Where did
I
it
know
come
the
from? I
answer. Do
saw
you
it on
know?
Instagram.
So then automatically you're on board.
Well, I think it's a good thing.
Why do you think it's a good thing?
It's raising awareness that everyone should be using safe isolation around the electrical industry.
When was that never a thing?
Well, it should always been a thing, but the
It was
fact it's
always a
being,
thing.
I know, but how often do you see it actually on social media being represented
So this is the
to
thing,
be
right?
pushed out?
This is
Oh,
the
Sam's
thing.
got a penis bonnet. Here we go.
Yeah, I have. Right. So when I was at college, safe isolation was a thing. You had to practice safe isolation at college. Right.
Yes.
I'm not ancient old, but I'm old enough to know that that was, some time ago. You had to do your safe isolation. So you had to safe isolate. You had to lock off everything, do all that sort of stuff. You had to do it when you energize a board or anything like that. Even in the college, it's always been a thing. It's always been there. What I find it a little bit disingenuous. Some of the people that get on this safe isolation bandwagon. Now, as a thing, as a thing, I support safe isolation. Um, nah, well, listen, I don't support it. It's just what you do when you are an electrician. Don't work live if you don't need to. You isolate it. So you go and do your safe isolation, you lock it off. To me, that's just a given. That's what you do as an electrician. If you don't do that as an electrician, you're not working right. So you're working
Safely.
sloppy.
Yeah.
No, you're working
Well,
sloppy.
no, you're not working safely,
No,
and
it's
it's not
not
just for
safely.
your.
It's sloppy. Yeah, because say, as they always say on site, you are your own safety officer. If you leave anything to chance, it's your fault. So, and as Samuel L. Jackson says, assumption is a mother of all fuck ups. So you take away that assumption by doing your safe isolation. That's a given. So what's it all
This is
about?
what we sort of. I never really thought about your way, but obviously with me, it's 1 dB in a domestic place. If I've locked it off, I know it. But obviously, with your working on stuff in the commercial, you could have like three-phase boards, and someone could come and cut your padlock off, or like it'd be very different
There's a million
for
things that
me.
can go wrong, and there's
Mm.
only so like as with any accident reduction or incident reduction, you put things in place to minimize the risk. Fair enough, right? Safe isolation is one of those things, but it's not a foolproof plan. And I feel like the disingenuous nature of some of the people pushing it makes me feel like I want to be sick. It's such an easy thing to be virtuous about. It's like, like you could go and spend £100 on lock-off kits and safe isolation stuff and send it to a college, and then that's it. You're a legend. Oh, look at me. Oh, I spent
No,
like we've all done it. I've like the amount of safe isolation kits I've facilitated behind the scenes without like chatting about it, which I've just done now. But I've done stuff like that. I've done all that. But a lot of people, I think, are on the bandwagon because it's very easy to look like you are the guy without doing a lot.
Well, if that's the case, or if it's not the case, it's still spreading awareness to. This is all I care about. It's still spreading awareness that people should be doing it as much as possible.
But what do you mean spreading awareness to something that you should be doing anyway? What are you talking
To
about?
to people that maybe that don't do it, because there's a
Why
lot of
wouldn't
sparks
you
that
do
I
it?
know. Because there's a lot of sparks out there that don't do it. They cut corners, and maybe it's showing to the young lads on apprentices that all follow us influencers on
Listen,
Instagram and YouTube.
you lot get wrecked for it on social media. You
I don't. I've
YouTubers,
never have done. I've always used a lock and off kit and shown one.
people talk about unsafe practices, and you come up a lot. Um, but no, I saw you come up today. Funny enough, people talk about YouTubers and their unsafe practices.
What, me directly, or just
I've heard
YouTubers?
your name thrown in the mix.
And what's this on then?
I can't remember. Listen, I
Oh
can't
wow!
be specific. If I had to be specific, I'd have brought a pen and paper to the show. But what I'm saying is, this safe isolation thing, right? It's great. Yeah, do what it is. But don't, just because you come up with safe for September, don't automatically mean that, everyone's got to support it. It's
Well, I
not
do
really something
support
you
it.
need to support.
Oh, I disagree. I think it's something you can support. You're just annoyed that you didn't
Why?
come up with the idea yourself. That's all it is,
I
Sam.
I literally don't care enough about the industry or anything to do with it enough anymore. I've done my bit and I've failed miserably. I leave it to others. But I will talk about the BS. Right, here's an example. Someone out there's just made a course on deep course on Sparky Ninja. He's made a deep dive into the world of safe isolation, right? Now, on the whole, I think he does a lot of really good stuff for the industry. Whether we get on personally or professionally or whatever, we don't. Okay, that's no secret that there's been a rift between E5 and old EGTE many years, and I don't really carry the torch for all that. It's nonsense. I'm a grown man. But what I find is you have someone like that who's been doing it for years, and then you've got these other people that come up and go, "Oh look, I'm oh yeah, safe isolation here," and it's just like
So do
it's
you think that
bandwagon.
these
It's virtue
right?
signaling of the highest order,
Okay,
and it's unnecessary because it's already being done.
I know, but I don't think there's any harm in people, new people coming in and approaching the subject and bringing awareness to it.
Why?
I like
Why?
because I don't think there's any harm with it whatsoever.
Why?
Because if anything, it's just promoting it more.
For what? You should. It's
People should be aware
it's
of
part
it.
of what you do. It's part of the ethos of being an electrician.
Yes,
What
I
do you
know.
need to
And this,
promote? I started saying, "Oh well, I'm going to also promote stripping cables correctly."
well, why
Well,
wouldn't
it's
that be a
not
bad thing?
difficult. No, it's not. It's not difficult. It's pretty easy, and it stops them from falling out the back of the box. That really, that's as simple
I
as it is.
think I would say it's been promoted more than it should be because people aren't doing it and people are still dying from not doing it.
Oh, mate, people are still dying from like falling
Yeah,
down the
but
stairs. It don't mean to say
yeah,
there should be
and
a
people are
deep
dying
dive
from.
into falling down the stairs and how to avoid it.
Well, there should be if it saves
Why?
people's lives. If it's saving people's lives and it's a simple, literally as simple as a tweet or an Instagram post or a little YouTube video that could
It's
potentially at some point save someone's like save someone's life. There's no
so
reason it can't be
virtuous.
done. It's not virtuous.
If you are
If you
in the
agree with
electrical
me, then put it
industry,
down
that's
below.
basics.
No,
It's
no.
basics.
Let's make this a discussion now. Everyone in the
All right.
comments on YouTube, do you agree with me or do you agree with Sam? Do you agree with
Right.
me that
Do you
there's
agree
no
with
harm
Nick
doing
that
it?
all publicity is good publicity, or do you believe it's basics? What you're talking about?
Pause it and go ahead. I can't wait to read these.
Yeah, basics. What are you talking about? Why does it have to be a thing? Why have we got a safe isolation month? Leave off now. A big shout out to Eddie Clement, who is a very very good guy. He's a big part of behind safe isolation September or whatever it is, and I have a lot of respect for him. He's a good guy and he backs up what he does. But all I'm saying is, probably gets more people behind it than it needs to.
What's a load of shit? Just
No,
shut
because I
up.
think a lot of people do it to virtue signal and go, "I'm part of this crew of really holier than now people," and when
I don't think
really,
there's anything wrong with that.
why?
I just
Why?
think it's just good to see it online for young lads to go, right, all these top guys are doing it. I should be doing it if we want to be like, copy from.
Who looks online and goes, "Oh, look, there's Eddie Clements. He does it. I'm
I
gonna
don't mean just like Eddie. I mean, as in like
like
the
you,
supported
like
Scott. Well, why
all
not?
you little Batman hat wearers
Well,
look
why
at you and
not?
go, Nick does it. I'm gonna do it. No,
Well, I
no,
have that
don't
many
work like
messages
that.
from people. I have that many messages from young lads or people saying we started the trade
Show
because
me
we watch
one.
what you do. I could show you hundreds.
Show me
That's
one
how
right now.
confident I am. I'm not going to get my phone right now.
Oh, all right. You can't show me
Okay, all
then.
right, fine, fine. I'll show you.
Let's see one Batman hat. Listen, that's what we're going to call Nick's followers, hatettes. Not one. See,
Oh mate, you have no idea how many messages I have.
show me one. You can't even show me one. You've been at it for 10 minutes.
I will find this by the end. Let's just carry on with the podcast because the people, mate, you have no. I have literally thousands of messages on Instagram from people saying, I started this because of you and the way you work and Adam, and it's really nice to see. And there's a lot of stuff they copy us with, either tool bags or the way they do the van, or
That's obviously going to happen, but I don't think what you do, because you don't really show enough of what you do in terms of your safe practices. Yeah, you're throwing a little snippet in that because it's the done thing. You're following the crowd.
I need to make sure that people know we're working safe
Do
and
you
for
care?
Adam's sake.
Do you care?
For Adam's sake, obviously, every board that he's ever worked on is locked off. But I feel like people need to see that bit or they don't believe you. That's the problem.
So you're not doing it because you genuinely believe in it. You're showing it because
I'm showing
you
people
don't want
out
to get
there.
called out, is what you're saying.
No, I'm showing it out there. I've never ever let him work live. It's never ever been the case. It's not what I could do as a professional and a boss. Everything has to be 100%. Everything has to be locked off because that's the way it is. That's the way I was taught. And I've had electric shocks before in the past, and it's not cool. But I put it on my videos now on purpose to show people that this is the way it's done. This is what we do. I don't ever normally go out to the meter box outside, open it up, shove the camera in his face to show off because I don't feel like I had to before. But people have made comments before. I hope it's locked off. It's like the tails are hanging out the fuse board. There's like, what do you think I've
But this is
done?
what I'm talking about. The lock off craziness is it's so virtuous and it makes me sick. There's some people who are out there walking the walk, like Eddie, like Ninja. It does pain me to say that. Like Ninja, he goes out there, walks a walk. Yeah, he might sell a few courses off the back of it, but good for him. Why can't he? It's all part of it,
Yeah.
And I think then you get other people who jump on board and they get all virtuous about it, like you, and they I just can't stand it. I can't stand the disingenuous nature of this lock off lock. That is my opinion on it. But you actually reminded me of a funny story that I don't think I've ever told. So my mum's friend, Karen, her ex-husband, she was a salt back in the day. Mad salt. Like when I was like 13, she was a proper salt. Anyway, her husband at the time, Mark, was an electrician, and he had an old tester. The wind-up ones.
The wind-up ones, yeah.
And he said, "Hey, hold this." And so, gullible as I am, I've always been gullible. Held it, and he cranked it up, and I got a shock off it. I was like, "Ah!" Oh. And then me and my mates all tried to see who could hold it the longest as he cranked it. Can you imagine? That's really not very good. Like, how far
we've had it at college before. I mean, I won't name any names, any lecturers. Everyone was told to hold hands in a circle. The first person was told to hold this probe, and then the last person was told to hold this probe, and that was like the second or third day in. And the more people you added, the more it hurt. Believe it or not. And,
yeah, but where's the safe fire station here, then, bro?
Well, it wasn't in the mains.
Why are you glorifying? Why are you glorifying shocking people?
Because it's a difference between a battery and a mains voltage, which could kill you.
There's no difference.
There
One
is a
amp can
massive
kill you.
difference.
1 milliamp can kill you.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. But no, I wanted to broach that subject. I feel like it's necessary. What else is new in the industry? Are you going Lex this week?
Yes.
I'm not. No, I literally it snuck up on me all of a sudden. I've got my reserved my space, but I ain't got time. I just literally don't have it.
I thought you had Fridays off for half a day.
Yeah, I'm still
Yeah,
not
but it's a
going.
distance from you, though, isn't it? Really
Oh, mate,
is.
it's 5 hours.
Why don't you go to the one in London then in a couple of weeks?
I might do.
Yeah.
I probably will do something like that. Coventry's a big one, isn't it? Because it's kind of in the middle. Everyone's
Yeah.
there. You'll be there. Savo will be there. There'll be a few people there, and I'm gutted for not going. It's just crept up on me. And to be honest with you, it's the first one back since COVID. You got to have a COVID passport and all that stuff. Excuse me, I'm not really feeling all that.
Yeah. Well, I saw that they removed. Is it you don't have to have the nightclub passports or anything? Oh, come on the news, isn't it?
Don't know,
Yeah,
but
because they made loads. Oh, go on.
you're only like half hour from Coventry, ain't you?
Coventry, 45 minutes to an hour in the morning.
So
I
it's only
remember
around the
my mum
corner
when I
for
went.
you.
Yeah, I remember when I went last couple of years ago with Adam, and halfway there, one of the road was closed. Literally just closed within 2 minutes of me getting there, and we ended up taking the fucking motorway the wrong way. I know, right?
Are you
Um,
going to be wearing a Monday Club t-shirt or not?
I don't have a Monday Club t-shirt.
Just because you're out of order.
Have you got a Joe Rogan t-shirt on?
Yeah, mate.
That's a sick
Podfather.
top, to be fair. I like that.
Podfather. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm going. I wanted to do it a couple of years ago with walking around with the GoPro, like just filming it a bit, but I just don't want to be that person.
Yeah, mate, you're going to get mobbed. Like, not mobbed, but you're going to get recognised. People are going to want to talk to you. It's going to be really awkward. And you're going to, like, there's going to be no filming.
No, it's just
And
a
there's
show.
just so many people to talk to as well, because you're going to be like, you're going to see, like, I don't know, Dickface Sparky comes up to you and it's like on Instagram. And you're like,
Oh,
oh, shit. And then you end up putting a name to a face. I think
yeah.
Kimmy's going to be there. I think Sam's going to be there. I know Mark's not going. Neil's not going. I don't think Rick's going. I'm not going. It's just such a bop. It's so far for me. It's so far.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, because Dave only lives around the corner. So
exactly.
Dave texted me. So I think Dave's going both days. He said.
Well, this is it. If I was going to go, I want to go both days. So that's 2 days off work after having 3 weeks off work. Don't know how I'm going to tell that to the missus. Plus a hotel room. Plus a load of nonsense that I'm going to buy there anyway.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going to take my card with me and just have a laugh. We'll laugh with Adam. See what. To be fair, I don't really need anything, but it's just nice to have a walk around and buy some stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and you get good deals there. The other thing is the standout thing for me was when I went, well, whenever it was a couple of years ago, was going out that evening. Me and Rick went out that evening. NJC Electrical, a few other people, Karen Boone from She's Electric, and we just went out for a curry that night, and it was so fun, and it was such a good laugh, and I had the hottest curry in the world and nearly died.
Sounds like you.
I can hear my dog sniffing the door. But yeah, other than that, mate, I'm not going to Alex. You are. And yeah, that's about it, really. What other topics? Why were you so miserable last week?
Last week?
Or week? What? Listen, you just put up a thing on YouTube. I'm going to quit YouTube. Let's have a conversation about it.
Yeah, well, I pretty much touched on it in last week's one, but it was obviously not being able to do anything, stuck in the house, not being able to move properly. It just took a real toll mentally on me, really, really badly. That motorbike.
Yeah, loudest motorbike in the world.
Yeah, it just knocked me down a few peg, and I didn't want to speak to you. I didn't want to speak to anyone. Didn't answer the phone. Didn't answer emails. I didn't literally didn't want to speak. It's the first time ever since being self-employed I left my phone upstairs. Normally it goes room to room with me. For the moment I leave it somewhere, it'll ring and it pisses me off.
Do you feel like what's also, do you think like you might have been a little bit burnt out as well? And the reason I say this is because you went through this mad stage of doing EICRs non-stop,
Rewires, rewires, rewires.
rewires, EICRs, rewires, EI, just non-stop for months and months and months. Barely had time to touch down. Do you feel like it was just a culmination of that, and then having the back go out, and where you've been on such like in sixth gear the whole time, and now you're in neutral. You're like, what am I doing in my life?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's burnt out because I've been on holiday the week before, chilled out for a bit. I don't really like even like going on holiday now. Like I don't enjoy it as much because first of all, you know it's like with kids. I've got 3 kids. It's a stress as itself, like it is. Don't not saying I don't enjoy it, but having to prep everything, make sure. Obviously, when I get on holiday, it's not only just paying for the holiday; it's paying for the time off on holiday and paying for
Yes.
Adam while I'm on holiday. And then it's playing catch up on phone calls and emails and quotes when you get back. It just adds this extra layer of stress where I just sometimes go, I just rather not go on holiday. That's honestly what it's like sometimes.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I love spending time with the family and going away. I think going abroad's a bit better because when people try and ring you and they hear the phone go to a funny dial, they go, oh shit, and they put the phone down because they think they're going to get charged more, which is sort of all right. But when you're holidaying in England, it's just a bit like, most of the time I just answer the phone, just say, listen, I'm on holiday, just drop us an email, I'll reply to you when I get back. But that could happen about 42 times a day. And you're a bit like, oh, when the phone, you just literally get off the phone, it rings again. But that's just the nature of the beast of being busy, which is nice. I don't know. But then coming back from holiday and then still having a bad back, it just took such a mental thing with me. I just had enough. And that's the thing about YouTube. I actually sat there and was like, I honestly, because I kept coming up to try and do a video of some sort. I wanted to do an analytics video. And I turned the camera on about 4 times within the same day on turn on computer. And I literally sat here and I was like, I don't give a fuck about this. Literally, I was like, I don't even know why I'm doing it anymore. I hate it. The thought of having to reply to all these messages and do all this. I was like, I just had enough. I went back on the sofa, felt like shit, tried to come up and go, shook myself out of it, did it again. And this lasted about 4 days until I was like, I just can't be asked anymore. Like I lost the love for it in a spell of literally a week.
I know what you mean. I can sort of empathise a little bit. I I had something similar when I was doing the union and all that stuff, and this is why I sort of touched on the fact that I'm done with helping the industry. If people get something from the podcast, then great. There's no sort of helping the industry from me as such because I've done all that, and I tried so hard and I put so much effort into it. And when it sort of come to an end, I was fucking lost. And I was a bit like all over the place and stuff. And I got really down. And I had something quite similar a couple of weeks ago. And I was just like, you know what? I could be done with YouTube. I went through the same thing because YouTube's another thing as well. It's like it's so rewarding, but at the same time, it can be so punishing.
Yeah.
Because you've got like this self-imposed nonsense that you put on yourself to reach a certain amount of numbers each week and keep the grind up, keep putting out content, keep doing stuff, and
be consistent.
yeah, and
It's
it can be
difficult.
crushing. It could not, oh woe is me, oh poor YouTubers, yeah, whatever. But it's a culmination of things. That's just another layer of stress, and I can only imagine when you're running your business, you've got an apprentice, 3 kids, family, bad back, all this culminates, and you're like, something's got to go. And the first thing that always comes up is, well, YouTube can go.
Yeah, pretty much. Social media in general just went out the window. I didn't go on any of it. But I think one of my problems, a lot of people said this, because I was having so many painkillers, because I had to. I've always refused painkillers on literally throughout normal day of life with headaches. I don't take it because I think when I want it to work, I want to take it. I think if you take too many, like my other afters, every other day, like they're sweets. I've got a headache, I'll have one. They just don't work as much.
That'd be me.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people are saying, well, the painkillers you're on, I think that's making me feel even worse mentally.
I think
kept
it
feeling
does.
sick. So I just thought one day, I thought, I'm just gonna stop taking them and I'll just deal with the pain. And it wasn't so bad because I'd been doing exercises warming up. So once I got going after sitting down for a while, I could sort of stand up straight and be
Yeah,
happy.
yeah,
And then after about time, I lean over, do some stretches, sit back down. It's when you try and stand up quickly, it would just break you. And it's the day after I stopped, like I didn't have any painkillers on the Wednesday. On the Thursday, I woke up and I was just like, oh, and I looked forward to going in the office and just tidying up a little bit or doing
yeah.
something. And that was like the start of like, oh shit. And then it was on the Friday, I was like, oh, I feel good. And I started like answering the phone and ringing people and speaking to friends. And then it comes to Saturday when I recorded that. I think it was a Saturday or Sunday I recorded that video, and I'd been chatting to her half, like chewing her ear off about it for about 2 hours. I was like, I'm going to go and record this. I said, people need to know now I'm feeling better. Like, I need to know the mindset of it so they can either recognize it if they're in the rut, or they can experience something like that in the future. They could sort of relate to it a little bit because people don't talk about it ever.
No, a lot of time, social media is a funny thing because a lot of it is talking about how awesome life is. Like
It's not.
I've got my own personal Instagram. That's just pictures of the good times. It's like a little cultivation of pictures of the good times, and I put that on there. If anyone looked at it, they'd think I'm living the greatest life of all time.
Hmm.
But the reality is, like, I've had some of the roughest weeks of my life in the last couple of weeks, and we don't talk about that because it's not. It's kind of not sexy, if you like. Do you know what I mean? People,
Yeah, and people don't.
if
I
you're
don't want to
trying,
put a downer on you. Other people like they're listening to it. The last thing they want to hear is us like moaning about I had a headache or a bad back or whatever. But unfortunately, it's a real world, and we are flooded now. Nowadays, even my kids and your kids growing up, they will be flooded with. You need to have these pair of jeans, or you're not cool. You need to have your hairstyle a certain way, or you're not cool. You
that's,
need to have a six pack. You need to have fake boobs. You need to have a boob, an ass Brazilian butt lift, or you need to have a slim waist. But you need to have a big ass and big tits, unless you're not attractive. It's like that is now the thing all over social media. And like us lot, we need to have a nice clean new tool bags with new and nice clean tools. I see all the pictures of the guys, which I follow and I like. I look at the tools and go, that ain't fucking realistic though, because the moment I touch mine after being in a loft, it's black because it's covered
yeah,
in
it
dust and
is, yeah.
dirt.
Yeah, do you know
And
what? It's funny you talk about that. It's funny you talk about them people in their clean tool bags because like, I'm gonna have a bit of a loafing time now, and I'm going on social media and I'm looking at, and I see some tool bags and I look at mine. I'm like, why
mine
do mine
is
look like that?
covered.
I need to buy new tools.
And well, when we're drilling downlights, yes, we got the Dade, or before we had Dades, everything would be covered white. And then it'd get dragged. It would go outside in the rain for a little bit. It is not. I never hoover the bottom of the tool bag out. It just comes to a point where I go, "There's too much stuff in here now." We'll take the tools out, tip the bag upside down, chuck it in the bin. But this is the problem with social media. Not just like not for our sparks and whatnot, but our kids in general. Of you need to look a certain way to for people to accept you and whatnot. It's like people just need to be happy being themselves, but no one is preaching it, and that's the problem. Everyone has this, and all the people that have hundreds of thousands and millions of followers are always the people putting on the fake life. Not everyone, but a
Yeah,
majority.
but
You
then
look
you
at the
get
Kardashians and
yeah, and
and
then you
and
get
all
one
that
of them
stuff.
go, "I'm so depressed today," and then it's like, well, and they're
Yeah,
like, do you know what I mean? And then they kind of do the depression one because it's like, oh, that's in at the moment.
it's
So it's
ticking a
in to be
box.
depressed or to suffer from anxiety and stuff. It's a funny old world, man. But listen, I want to call it
Okay.
before we go down the road of mocking everyone. Listen, Monday Club, we're out.